Alrighty, folks, we are continuing our Sunday conversations, something I love to do, love to reach into my Rolodex of amazing investors and bring you new names with new stories. Today, we get the wonderful Christian Osgood. Christian Osgood, you may have heard, started out with Cody Davis way back in the day. He then moved to Texas. They have been, I don't know, consolidating, shrinking their portfolios, and Christian has gone on to do many, many more amazing things, which we will hear about here shortly. Christian, thank you for doing this Sunday morning, man. It's so nice of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Fun to be here.
I appreciate that. Well, do me a favor, just in case there's two or three people that don't know your story. Why don't you kind of give the origin story, what started, the journey, and then we'll close with where you're at now.
Yeah, so I started with the Dave Ramsey method of save to buy a few properties. That's what my parents taught me, that's what my teachers taught me, that's what my high school mentors taught me. Everyone said that's the method to stability. So I spent the first 8 years of my career wanting to be in real estate. I worked for lands.com, who got acquired by CoStar. I worked for all of their subdivisions. So apartments.com, the CoStar core product, loopnet.com. They now have expanded to homes.com. They're massive. Basically, it's just online real estate data. I worked that job for about half a decade. Took the money that I made from that and bought two duplexes in my house. Two duplexes, each one cash flowed about $1,000 a month.
Not bad.
And the mortgage on my house was $2,000 a month. So I got to a place in 8 years where my real estate was paying for my real estate. So net free. It's kind of like the house hack, except you don't have to share a wall with someone. You just buy
Mm,
enough rental properties to cover your mortgage.
yep.
It Not
And this was
bad.
all in. This was all in around. Where was this? Washington, right?
This was Washington, yeah. So this was in my first deal was in a city called Bremerton, about an hour from. I lived just south of Seattle,
Okay.
about an hour on the water.
Mm,
And then my second one was in Moses Lake, where Cody and I have partnered on well over 100 units.
mm.
It was a little duplex out there. Flipped it myself, painted the exterior. Learned that
Wow.
when you paint an exterior with the spray, you're actually supposed to wear a mask. So, uh, yeah, all the things that one would do. Before that, I had a condo, 2 bed, 2 bath with a roommate. So I mean, I did all of the bigger pocket things, the house
Wow.
hack, the live and flip, the second house was also I renovated that heavily myself while I
Mm.
built my portfolio. I did it all manually, I did it all slowly, and I did it all out of earned income with no partners, which is not bad.
No. Yeah,
For
nice story.
me, it changed when my we had COVID hit
Hmm.
and the entire country shut down. And so one, I had time to think about what I actually wanted to do instead of just doing things. I was like, huh, I don't like that I'm an outside sales rep and I'm not allowed to go outside for 2 years in Seattle. That was hard.
That's
That was
hard.
not
Yeah.
fun. That was not the that wasn't the stability I'd been promised by following all of the appropriate steps. I also felt that 8 years to get 4 units was pretty slow. However, that wasn't quite enough to get me started. What got me started is when we came back. My wife was a kindergarten teacher. After she taught kindergarten on Zoom for 2 years, and she was in a impoverished area, and she taught special needs.
Mm,
Special need kindergartners in low income areas on Zoom, they don't understand how to use Zoom.
mm.
It was horrible. She came back almost immediately, got pushed down on the playground, broke her lower back,
Oh my goodness.
and I was like, you know what? That was the motivator for me. I'm like, you know what? I want to retire my wife. That's more important than retiring me. But I already wanted to retire me, so I'm like, okay, this isn't working for me. This isn't working for her. We're going to have to do something different than buy a duplex every year or so.
Mm,
So the next thing that I did, and I'll wrap up the story time. And we'll get into the discussion part. But the next thing I did was a seller finance 38 unit with my partner at the time, Cody Davis.
right.
We closed that, bought it for $2 million, seller financed. About a year later, it appraised for like 3.8 million. I was like, oh, I
Mm,
like these bigger buildings a little bit more. I don't have any duplexes that make over $1 million in upside in a short period of time. That's really nice. We went into buy 10s, 12s, 14s. I did in small markets. We bought a resort that we shouldn't have, also seller financed. Then since I was so tired of Washington State, we moved to Texas and we did the same thing here. Thursday, I closed on a 76 unit building.
Mm.
Um, I've I have to recount my portfolio now, but quick mental math, I'm like 402 rental units,
Nice.
which we did in 4 years. So 8 years to get 4 units, 4 years to do 400 units. And I have about a 40% equity stake in that portfolio, which I think is the last important thing to mention because some people flash unit count and it's like,
Yeah.
I want to point out it's not the same as owning 100% of all of those units. I have a weighted like 180-ish,
Right.
uh, which isn't bad. That's
No.
still pretty darn good. I liked what I did more than
Mhm.
buying one duplex out of earned income every year personally. So that's my story. That's where I'm at. And I am also, as of this last week, the sole owner of that resort. I bought out my partner because my partner was low on liquidity and the resort needs money. So I took on the money pit because I can, and now it's a fun project. We run concert series there, weddings there,
Nice.
and it's a base camp to hike the Olympic mountains. So it's a very cool project, not a very smart one. That's my story. That's where my portfolio is at today. I have a resort that bleeds money and
Nice.
multifamily that makes a lot of money, and
There you go.
that's my business today.
Yeah, folks, don't forget you have the chance to ask Christian questions. You can either A, raise your hands, or B, put it in the comments. I will always take them as they come in. So if you came here with a question, put it in. You will get your chance to ask Christian some questions. So the one thing that I love about your story is, you know, you've always been kind of action first. You really can't look at yourself or your story and go, you were analysis paralysis, right? You go ahead. What
Oh
do you
no,
think?
no, absolutely agree. Ready, shoot, aim is
There
the
you
uh,
go. Ready,
is the
shoot,
is the
aim.
model that I've always followed. I learned that at CoStar. That's how Andy Florence built a $28 billion company. He's like, we have an idea. Let's bring it to market. It's not going to be perfect, and we'll just see where we hit, and then we'll adjust from there.
Yeah, very
That
cool.
that has served me well. It doesn't mean go into things unprepared. Come in with a strategy. Don't buy deals that just lose money. But come in with like, okay, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to build cash flow. What does that mean? I can only buy deals that are cash flow positive. If I keep closing these, my income should keep going up. This makes mathematical sense. Let's just go buy some stuff.
Yeah,
And that's what we did, and it scaled relatively quickly. So yes, I would
yeah,
agree with that. Ready, shoot, aim is or ready, fire, aim, I think is how they worded it.
yeah. Ready,
Has
fire,
been a
aim.
good method for us.
No, I like that. Really something that I've done as well. I lean towards action and kind of figure it out, right? When
Hmm.
when stuff happens. So I love that about the story. Well, let's talk about a recent deal, right? You just said you closed on, or I don't know if it was closed or will close on Thursday. I missed the tense there. Uh,
Closed.
Closed. So last Thursday, you closed 76 units. Break down that story. When was the first time you saw that deal? When was it on MLS or was it a mailer or how'd you find it? How's this story start?
So I've found a little, and I like secondary markets a lot. I'm not a primary market guy. Not that I wouldn't buy a deal in Dallas since I live here, but it's not what I look for.
Mhm.
I did really well in Moses Lake, Washington. When I moved to Texas, I found a town called Stephenville. College has 20,000 students at the time. They're expanding and going to 30,000 students. This year, they're the fastest growing college in the U.S. They're part of the
Mm,
Texas A&M system. Last year, they were number three. So they're not a huge college. They're not a small college. They are the fastest growing college. Uh, Population growth there is awesome. The town is actually awesome. You drive through the town. People love living there. Tons of history, rodeos,
Now, when you
ranching.
say town, just so I get a like, are we talking 20,000 people, 80,000 people? What's a
30
town in Texas?
30,000 people, but the census doesn't count all the students.
Of
So
course. Okay.
effectively for most of the year, it's like 55,000 people, but
Got it. Okay.
listed as 30.
Got it.
So not a tiny town, but it is definitely like it's a town. It's not a
Yeah.
metropolis. It's
Right.
an hour and a half outside of Dallas, so
Mm,
you're not in the city by any means. You're out in the country, but you're near a lot of civilization. Town hits all the metrics for me. So we buy a seller finance 25 unit about a year and a half ago, and 1980s build on about 4 acres, all fourplexes, and then a
oh wow.
laundry room with a manager suite. That's how I get to 25. You guys were like, wait a second, you can't have all fourplexes and 25 units. Bought a 26 unit down the street, um, which was just bank finance. We killed it on price, million six purchase, and it was just a developer who needed cash for a much bigger project where he's gonna make a lot more money. He's like, I just need you guys to close this now. And I was like, okay, your bookkeeping sucks, so I'm kind of gonna have to kill you on price to get it financed. He's like, that's fine. That's
Mm-hmm.
fine. I'm gonna make so much more money. Just get me cash out. I was like, okay. That's deal two. Deal three is the one that opened up the 76. Deal three is LIHTC, so it's rent restricted. In Texas, it is very hard to qualify to buy LIHTC. You need at least 3 years of low income housing experience working with HUD, and you need to have owned in that market for over a year to get approved.
Okay.
The first two deals gave me the year of experience. All of Washington gave me the experience that I needed on HUD. We qualified, we closed the 44. This 76, they reached out to us. They're like, hey, there's not a
Oh.
large buyer pool for this. You just bought a similar building 7 minutes away.
Hmm.
There's three LIHTC deals in Stephenville. Uh, Day one cash flow on it with on the 76 units, there were nine vacancies. It cash flows about 10% cash on cash day one.
Nice.
Like that works. We also have an exit from the LIHTC program in 3 years, so all of the rent restrictions disappear in 3 years.
Hmm.
So you get paid decently to hold for 3 years, and then you get paid a lot of money. It's one of the better deals I've ever done. It has a clubhouse, pool, playgrounds. It's 13 and a half acres.
Wow.
They all have one car garages. It is a truly magnificent piece of real estate. I would have never imagined when I was buying the duplexes that I could ever do this. And so it's one where when I share the story, I caveat this with I don't want people to hear the building and check out and be like, okay, I can't do that. Because that would have been me in the beginning. It took 4 years to scale from buying a, honestly, pretty shitty looking 38 plex in
Hmm.
Moses Lake, Washington, to buying an immaculate building built in 2000 with all the amenities in the middle of a core market that I already had 95 units in. That's anyone could do this in any market. That is the illustration for how fast this can go if that's what you want to do. You also could just buy the 25s and call it a day because that's enough to retire on right there.
Well, let's break down those first two. Again, it's always fun for folks to see where you get these because a lot of people that follow one rental at a time, obviously on the MLS, we're looking for houses, duplexes, maybe up to fours. You're playing an entirely different game. You know, your typical sites would be Crexy, LoopNet, networking, which is something you do extremely well. Word of mouth, i.e., this 76 unit deal, you got word of mouth. Where did you get those first two to kind of break into this new market? Was those Crexy and LoopNet, or were you just trying to find owners, or what's the deal?
So the first one was Google Maps.
Oh wow.
So it
Google
was
Maps
looking
is a
for.
lead source. Tell me more.
Oh, dude, that is the only one. That's the if you. I know you have Cody on occasionally, so Cody does the same thing. Uh, you go through. I want to find who owns the properties. I want to get networked with them. And
Got it.
so I was like, hey, I like this market, and I know no one in this market. I've recently heard of a Stephenville, but it's really interesting to me, so I want to check this out. I drove the market. I'm like, I would live here. This is cool. So I just go through Google Maps. You look for the larger roofs. With zoning in Washington, it was really easy because the zoning's really tight, and so multifamily,
Mm,
you find one building, you find all the buildings.
got
In
it.
Texas, the zoning's kind of like, yeah, we have lots of land. Put up a building wherever you
Whatever.
want. So it's a little bit more driving the map because you can really put a multifamily building anywhere you want.
Mm,
But going through, it's looking for the larger roofs. It's pretty obvious from an
okay.
aerial view what is multifamily.
Right. Sure.
It
Makes
looks
sense.
like a multifamily building, and turns out it is. I called on. I was calling probably two people a day, just
So yeah, I
find
want
a
to break
couple
this
owners on
down for
Google.
folks. So again, you spend hours, you get the addresses. Then what do you do? Because again, you are in this space, CoStar, all of that. So do you go to PropStream, Property Radar? Do you go to the title company? How are you finding like, okay, I want 123 Main Street. It looks like a big building. All right, what's next? You got a list, but what do you do next?
Yeah, I'll just take them into like Open Corporates or True People Search or anything free online, and I'll just plug
Okay.
them in because I'm trying to call like two people a day. If I
Right.
wanted to streamline it, which I've never needed to, I'm still so frugal. I just will not pay for software. So I'll go through and it's like, okay, I can see the building, I can see the address. Uh, Ownership is public record. If it's an LLC, we'll type it into Open Corporates and figure out who the owner is, and we'll Google their name and the word phone number.
Got it.
So and if you're doing two calls a day, this is like a 15-minute project.
Right. Yeah.
You could just make a list, but I found that actually going through the whole drill,
Hmm.
when I'm calling, I just looked at the property. I just looked at the aerial view.
Yeah.
Everything's right in front of me. It's not just a blank piece of paper. I didn't want to make a sales job. So that was
Yeah.
boring to me pulling the list.
Got it.
I drive the building on Google Maps. I find the number. I call the number. And I found a guy named Scott, like pretty much everyone I've bought from. He also owns the law firm, half the retail on that street. He owns 15 different farms in Stephenville.
Oh, wow.
He built this particular building, and it's his largest multifamily building. Talking to him, he happened to be 81.
Oh.
His family owns the law firm, and his sons operate the law firm today. They want the retail, they want the farms. They have no interest in providing housing. They have four different businesses. All of them are successful.
Mm.
None of them care about the multifamily branch of the business.
Got it.
So for him, he's like, well, we're all set financially. We're all, we've been lawyers in this town forever. We're on the board of the bank. Where they don't need money. They don't need cash right now. He's like, we don't need the maintenance of a building. We're not really that good at running the building. It's just a thing that we have.
Right.
And so that was a perfect opportunity for seller financing where he came in. It was
Hmm.
10% down, $2 million purchase, 25 big units. They need some reno. It was a good price, not a great price. 5% interest only for the first 5 years. It was good enough where it qualified for bank financing. I usually don't like 5 year debt. That's too
Yeah.
short.
Too short. Yeah.
But
I
if
I
you can
agree.
get it into bank financing day one, but instead get 5 years of cheaper debt,
Yeah.
excellent. I'll take 5% IO.
Yeah.
And so we bought that deal. And that deal, as soon as we got that one, I go down to the town and I spend time at my property and I keep meeting owners and another owner that I met for coffee. It's really easy to talk to the guy who owns 26 units when you're like, hey, I bought the 25 down the street. I've
Right.
now just become the most obvious buyer and the most interesting new person in town because I'm an owner now.
Right.
We closed the 26. Now I'm at 51 units. The 44 came in from a broker. He called me, said, hey, saw you guys are buying up this town. I have an interesting deal. It's LIHTC. I don't know if you qualify. We made it happen, and
Right.
now we became the most obvious buyer for the next one. But there's the back two were brought in from brokers, from me
Hmm.
talking about the things that I'm doing. The first two
Yeah.
came in from networking and getting coffee with people who've done what I wanted to do. That's the entire pipeline,
Yeah. I
and
want
it
to
costs
highlight.
nothing.
Yeah. It costs nothing. Right. So I have these 7 ORAT rules. Again, you can go get them on my website. Number 3 is grow your network. Meet 2 new people a week.
Oh,
You guys got to be meeting new people, and it's not that hard.
I am an introvert. I have two friends, and none of them are in Dallas yet. I moved to Dallas and immediately had a son. So if you try being a new parent and knowing no one, it's you don't go out and meet a lot of people.
Right.
So I don't do this like I'm not just like, oh yeah, I'm just social. I'm just around people all the time. I'm not. I work from home with my wife. I don't go hang out. I don't drink, so that kind of eliminates a lot of like I'm not just going out being social. This is a easy intentional thing. I am finding a few people's phone numbers and I'm calling them. I'm talking to a few brokers every once in a while. But if you do that, like you said, two people a week is perfect. Assuming that you take 2 weeks of vacation every year, you meet 100 new people. You never
Exactly.
have to ask for a deal if you meet 100 people who are in real estate and
A
have had
year.
some
Yep.
conversation on what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
Uh, Easy. That is the easiest thing you can do. Everyone will buy 2 to 4 deals every year if you meet 100 people and just talk.
Yeah. Again, a lot of people look at some of the big players, and I have them on my channel, right? Jason Pritchard's doing, hundreds of deals a year, and the Adrian and Ty and all these guys. But you don't have to do it that way. Right? You're just using free software, Google Maps, looking at roofs, then doing simple Google searches, making some phone calls, leaving some voicemails, following up, having coffee. And then when you land something, then the story gets better, right? You can say, "Hey, I'm the guy down the street." You know, worst case, let's go meet the other neighbor
Mhm.
and the other owner. So
So
we
the
sometimes
hardest one in any
overcomplicate it.
market is you have to do the first deal. It
Correct.
is it gets orders of magnitude faster when the call is, "Hey, I'm your property neighbor," as
Yes.
opposed to like, "Hey, I'm your aspiring property neighbor." That does have more resistance. If you guys are trying this, you're like, "This feels harder than Christian's saying." Until you get the first deal, the first one does feel a little bit grindy because you have no relationships, no contact, no momentum.
Yeah.
Literally close a duplex in the market, which is what I did in Moses Lake.
Hmm.
And it unlocked a 10, a 12, another 12, the 38, 11 duplexes. I expanded to Ephrata, Washington, where I bought two straight blocks of downtown and renovated it. I have City Hall, the adjacent building, all the way 2 blocks down, which is great unless you want to try to do some renovation without pulling a permit. City Hall will find you. They can see you through the window.
That's right.
Um,
Not good.
Yes, they have they have flagged us twice. One of my contractors was like, "Well, I tried to replace the roof." I'm like, "You can't replace the roof next to, next to code enforcement
That's
without
not good.
pulling a permit, you idiot."
That's not
But that enabled a duplex is what got the ball rolling to do
right.
all of that. And even that adventure was a multi seven figure profitable
Yeah.
adventure. It's not get rich quick, but I'm like, in 2 years of just like I'm gonna meet two, like it literally was your rule number three, like meet two
Hmm.
people. Like,
Yeah.
get my thing was get coffee with one person every week
There you go.
and make 10 phone calls to people either new or in your network who you want to meet every week. So that was the
There
the
you go.
flow, which results in about two people of conversations.
Yeah. I
That
love that.
enabled I went from like, hey, I make like 200 a year to, oh, I made about $1 million in a year
Yeah.
just in real estate in like 4 or 5 transactions a year. It's
I
I
love it.
don't I don't like busy. That was the thing I was trying to get out of was a sales job. So I'm not 100 transaction a year person.
Right.
If you told me you could buy 100 profitable deals a year, I'd be like,
Good
maybe
for
I'll
you.
move from 5 to 6.
Yeah.
I'm not. I have no interest in making significantly more than I do now. It is a great flow,
Hmm.
and you pick up a 25, a 75, it's still a few hundred units a year.
Yep.
That's enough work to where if you pick up more than that, I see a lot of people lose quality in how they manage them and how they operate them.
Hmm.
For me to know I can expand my team in a measured way and I can manage my portfolio in an optimal way where I'm serving, myself, my investors, my tenants to the highest ability, about 200 to 250 units a year is all we can do.
Okay.
So, four
I
or
like it.
five transactions,
Yeah. Okay.
easy,
Easy.
relatively.
There you go. We got our first question. This one's from Chris. Again, folks, remember today is for you. So raise your hand and put comments in. I would love to ask your question. This one's from Chris. What is your ready, shoot, aim advice to get into multifamily in 25, 26? How would you break that down?
I have it over talking, so I'll try to keep it efficient. The ready is know exactly what it is you're trying to do. I was trying to retire my wife, and I had never had a big house in my life. My house in Renton was 1,100 square feet, built in 1955. That's as far as $250,000 a year ish in Washington combined income will get you. So we have this tiny little house. I wanted to build my dream house to start a family, and I wanted to retire my wife from teaching. So to do those two things, it's about $15,000 a month to have stability, to pay for the higher mortgage, I have like a 4,500 square foot house, this bigger
Yeah.
house.
Big house.
So to have the big house that I've always dreamed of, it's the only thing I care about. Turns out I actually do really like real estate. I don't care about cars, watches, clothing. I'm wearing Chicago Bulls shorts right now that I got from Ross. I'm not a spender except for real estate. So my house was the one thing. To do that, $15,000 a month pays for the food, the bills, the mortgage, with the excess to go on vacation. So my target was very clearly ready. I'm going to buy enough multifamily to positively cash flow predictably at least $15,000 a month every single month. That's the ready. Shoot. I bought a couple duplexes. I know I need to do this faster because I'm trying to retire her now. So we need to find a bigger building. I was looking around 20 units. What we found was 38. That didn't fit the buy box exactly. It had a lot of reno projects that I had never done before. It was not a perfect deal. It was a deal where I'm like, I believe that this will make a lot of money, and I have a lot of reasons to think this will make a lot of money. Nothing trades this low at this size. If we fix the problems, we hit the goal. There's a lot of ways to overthink that. There was a failed septic drain field of the three drain fields on that campus. Failed septic drain field. One of the four roofs was bad and needed to be replaced. Their biggest problem though was their collections were terrible. Like they had a ton of people not paying. It happened to be the middle of COVID where there were tons of programs for the government to pay you the back due rent. So I'm like, you know what we can do? We can get a whole lump sum of cash right after we close this, which is what we did. But there's a whole lot of room in a deal like that to be like, I've never done this. This is way too big, going from a duplex to 38. I don't know how to do these projects. What if I'm wrong? There's a lot of analysis things. The goal wasn't to analyze a deal forever. The goal was to buy something that cash flows, which we did, and to push the upside to make more money, which we did. That's what it looked like in my portfolio. Know where you're heading, and then find the next deal. And I found if you get your buy box too narrow, that's where it's too much aiming. People go like, I've
Mm.
decided I'm going to buy a fourplex and I'm going to live in it, and that's my next move. You should look for those while also keeping your options open to what happens if there's a 12plex down the street and
Mm.
it does cash flow and you can close it. I think it's just an expansion of the buy box. I used to think the buy box was a dumb idea. It's not. You need to know exactly what you're buying. Michael would have saved me $1.4 million had I listened to him when he first explained the buy box to me, roughly three
Right.
and a half years ago. So that's what it looks like. Be prepared, but don't over prepare. Analyze, but don't analyze everything to death. Know where you're heading, move forward. And then on the misses, which I had some, I way overpaid to renovate some of the units. Like, unbelievably, that was the cost of inexperience. Now I can aim and I can get better at all those pieces. That's full cycle. That's what it looked like on the 38 unit deal. Anyone can copy that rough strategy,
Yeah.
tailor it in, tailor it in, tailor it in until it's like, okay, now I understand exactly what I'm doing when I onboard a property, and it
Yeah.
moves 100 times faster.
Well, let's talk about the resort a little bit, because I think again, I think a lot of people can learn from this, right? You were killing it. You were having big momentum. An opportunity to buy a resort. Seller financing came across your plate. This is my understanding of the story, being involved at the periphery. Um, the seller financing obviously got you excited. You were down with that. You had a decent portfolio already. This was net new, and you know, from my position, it kind of looked like, well, you guys thought it was, all real estate's the same. My
Yeah.
my opinion. And you're like, cool, all real estate's the same. Obviously, hotels, resorts are hospitality, not long, not year leases, not month to month. Very different game. Got different kind of employees, an entirely different game. And this is back to your buy box comment would have saved you. And sometimes you do get a little, a little cocky, a little over your skis. And why don't you just talk about, what you saw, and just sometimes mistakes can hurt.
Yeah. So with the resort, it was referred to me by our good friend Dion.
Yep.
Dion's like, hey, this thing is really active, and active is not what I want to do, but it's seller financing, and you can buy this $0 out of pocket. Like, this could be 100% finance. Like, that's really interesting.
Hmm.
I also happen to like hiking and fishing, and it happens to be on the water with a boat launch at the base of the Olympic Mountains. It's 13 and a half acres, 20 cabins, individual hot tubs. I also like historic buildings. And so all of these cabins are big A-frames
Hmm.
in the woods. I mean, it is very cool. There's a river that runs through it. We have a salmon run through the river.
Nice.
Like part of my staff's job is to like chase the beavers out of the river. Like it's cool. It is like the most Pacific Northwest thing you could possibly have. So it's very cool.
Nice.
The problems with it, it ended up being $1 million down, not $0 down, and we had no context of how you value a hospitality project or how to run the staff. What we learned is hospitality is a business that has some real estate.
Hmm.
Whereas
That's what you're saying.
multifamily is
Yeah.
it's just real estate. You buy a building,
Yeah.
you have great people who rent it, and you serve those people as well as you possibly can. That's easy.
Yep.
Resort has way more going on. It has up seasons, down seasons. But we made some stupid decisions. Basically, my partner sold me on the idea of like, well, if we're wrong on our math, we make so much money elsewhere that it's fine.
Yeah.
I was like, the end
Yeah.
of your first year of being successful is not the time to buy luxury items.
Yeah.
Um, there's just a whole bunch of things. Now, there's other problems. I went into with partners who had only ever done multifamily. They got overwhelmed. I was less overwhelmed, but they all just abandoned the project. So my wife and I have been running a resort for 3 years, manning an 8-person staff remotely from Texas. It's just been a hard project.
Yeah.
We got to the point where I am grateful for it only because it was so financially damaging that I had to scale my business to compensate. And so I had to buy out the partners and return the capital to the for the $1 million that we borrowed to
Mm,
buy the resort to give them their return. I had to just go earn a post-tax liquid million for.
mm,
Having never done that before, that forced me to again ready, shoot, aim, go, okay, well, I know where I have to go. I realized 6 months into this project, I had 3 years to pay back that investor. I was like,
ooh,
I have 2.5 years to bank about $1.5 million. I've never done this
yeah.
before, but I have a very clear target.
Mhm.
Let's go figure out how to do it, which unfortunately means I had to sell a couple of my multifamily buildings to offset the cost, but we survived it. My solution was let's expand in what we know so that a $4.5 million purchase is a smaller problem. Because right now it's the biggest thing that I own and it's the only one I screwed up. So I'm like, that's
Yeah.
bad. But if you can do things that are bigger than that, it becomes less of a problem. Hence, like a 76 unit building is like a $6.5 million purchase. I'm buying things bigger than that. That's
Right.
what I did. One of the partners on that decided to scale down their business as opposed to up,
Mm,
which is also fine. And they were able to negotiate, like, hey, just they signed over some of their properties to me for me to take on
mhm.
the Robinhood. So I scaled up, they scaled down. They got out of it by scaling down. I got out of it by scaling up. There
Yeah.
wasn't a wrong answer there. There's just what's the right answer for your business. Mine was,
Yeah.
it seemed more interesting and more fun to build a business that's big enough to handle it. So that's what we did.
I like it. I like it. We'll go into questions again, folks. Remember, this is for you. This one's from Ramel. How did you learn how to underwrite the apartment complexes coming from residential? Was this your experience at CoStar, or how'd you figure out how to underwrite deals?
I had a mentor who I won't name, who funny enough now lives like one city south of me, which is so funny because I worked for him in Tacoma, Washington for years. Uh, he was an absolute moron, but he's amazing at creative finance, and he was a very just really charismatic individual. So very good at raising capital, horrible at business. So he was just a wizard at raising people's money and losing it. I
Oops.
mean, to the tune to like he has like 7 or 8 judgments against him now for
Ugh.
just irresponsibly dumping money into stupid harebrained ideas. What I did learn from him was two things. The least valuable but very valuable of the two was a lot about creative finance.
Mm,
The other thing I learned from him is how fast you can lose real estate and burn people if you do not have a clear plan on how to keep it. So I distilled my underwriting to what is the goal? It's buy and hold. He was a wizard at owning it, not a wizard at keeping it. So I'm like, okay, well, what math does one need to keep it? Which is it needs the cash flow. So every time I buy, my income goes up. It needs to be long term because if my debt expires in 2 years, my cash flow potentially expires in 2 years, depending on the market. I don't want to depend on the market, as we all got a really fresh reminder of, as rates
mm,
went way up. Fortunately, all my debt was locked in because I didn't want that to happen.
mhm,
So long-term cash flowing fixed rate debt is ultimately what it comes down to. If you have all of those things, real estate will appreciate in the long run. You need to make sure as many variables are fixed as possible for that long run. So my shortest debt, minus that one 5 year note, which again I bought at a price where I could already refinance day one, and we've more than doubled rents of that property. So I'm not worried about the debt product. with very, 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 very few exceptions. My shortest debt is 7 years. My longest debt is seller finance debt is 30 years fully amortized.
Yeah.
So there you have lots of options there, but that made underwriting really simple. Income minus expenses is your cash flow.
Yeah.
The metrics that I care about are cash on cash return, day one.
Hmm.
That just tells me am I losing money or not, and it is DSCR. I keep my portfolio at all times, my global portfolio above a 1.5 DSCR at all
There you
times. I
go.
will not dip below that. On acquisition, the lowest I'll go is a 1.2. So I make sure that I have. I love DSCR because it includes debt, unlike cap rate and other metrics.
Right.
It's why banks like to lend on it. It is the truest stability metric that there is. And so if
And
you
when you
know
buy
the
on
easy,
1.2, that's day one because
yeah.
you always going with a plan, right? You see the future, if you will. Like, hey, this will be a 1.8, a two in
Yeah.
6 to 9 months.
I do the same set of math two times. I go at the end of my debt product, or if I'm buying out a partner, sometimes I have a 5 year partnership.
Mm,
At the end of my current structure, either debt or equity structure, what does the math look like if rents don't increase at all in my market? If the market
okay.
does nothing for me and I just get to today's market rate, what does the deal look like? I the 25 unit that I bought in Stephenville today, it's DS. I just did my schedule real estate. The DSCR on it is 3.16.
Oh, jeez.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, I am unlikely to lose that because I pay myself more than two times what I pay the owner in mortgage. And if you have $50 million of debt, which I do today,
Mm,
if you're paying yourself half of what you pay on your mortgages, it's a lot of money.
yeah. I like it. Very cool. All
Yeah.
right, we got our first hand raised. Jim, you were up first. Carl, you'll be next. Jim?
Hey, you guys already talked about the resort type thing, or is it a real big passion of mine? Now, I know that's very many years out
Mhm.
because I'm not crazy. My question to you is, you went to a really big, expensive one. I want to start one from the scratch because that's my whole goal is to
Mm,
build it. I want to
No
build that.
fun.
Yeah, but I want to go small. I'm looking at like 11 acres, maybe 8 units, a couple tents in there, a couple A-frames, a couple unique stays.
Hmm.
But I'm going to start down low. I'm going to book a couple unique stays and then develop it out. Do you think that would be a better process than trying to spend a bunch of money on something?
I It's a different strategy. I know the answer for me is I like to buy things that already have income. It's much easier for me to analyze. So I don't do development personally because it's a variable that I don't want. Just like a lot of people in Zuber's network. When I think of Zuber's guys, I always think of Matt Hawkins, Dion
hmm.
McNeely. They're all no partner guys. So their
Yeah.
variable that they hate is partners. I take
Yes.
a lot of partners. I don't like the variable of development. That doesn't mean that you can't develop. Developers make a ton of money. I know enough developers who have hundreds of millions of dollars. I know enough developers who have lost hundreds of millions of dollars. I did a On my podcast. I had Andrew Cartwright, who's a developer out of Vegas. Uh, he's ostensibly a billionaire. Um, I've never been in a house that big. He has boats in his pool to.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know, right? I was just like, oh, I didn't realize that there was this level. He's gone bankrupt 4 times. I don't have the stomach to lose everything 4 times. This was hard enough to build. I'm also a 4 deal a year guy. Like I said, I'm not aggressive enough. You can do a really
Aggressive enough.
measured, simple way of building. It is the one variable where I have the least skill, so I have no advantages to me building. I'm
Gotcha.
just going to go from your background and say that you probably have more skill in building than I do. It probably makes a lot more sense for you to do this than me to do this.
Yeah,
Know
and
that know
I'm
thyself.
yes, and I'm smart enough to know that I need to build up my portfolio first. I'm going through Burr. I got to build that up first before I can take on a project like that.
Yep, and that's the way to do it. I did do a hotel conversion, which is it's similar. It's not full construction, but it's
Yeah.
taking one thing and making it something else. For that project, I didn't take that on because, of course, it bleeds money if you have an empty hotel that is not positive cash flow.
Yeah.
You empty the building. I waited till my cash flow was double what the mortgage is for that, So it's if I am wrong on this, then I'm there's no way I go bankrupt. I can service this forever. And it turns out I was wrong on it. It made exactly what it was supposed to make. It took exactly a year and a half longer than I thought it would to lease
Mm.
it. It worked, but had I started on that, I would have bled out before it worked. It literally was made possible because I did exactly what you said. I
Yeah,
built the base, and the base allowed me to get through the project, and it made a ton of money. But I literally, if that was my first deal, I would have just, I would have gone bankrupt. There's no way I could have held the negative.
perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jim. All right, Carl, your hand was up next. Go for it.
Yep. First off, Christian, thank you for spending time with us this fine Sunday morning, us in the community. And second, congratulations on all of the growth, success, success in your journey so far.
Thank
I
you.
do have three questions for you. One is connected to what you already kind of discussed there about partnerships. Like, in your opinion, what's a successful, or what are the elements of a successful partnership?
You guys are like asking me like my all of my key points. This is great. Okay. Successful partnership. For me, every partnership except for marriage is not designed to last forever, so you always go in with the end in mind. And so I have a goal for every partnership I have, and I have a lot of partnerships. There is a very specific goal of we are going to do this until we get X outcome. When Cody and I started partnering together, we had the goal of he's like, I want to retire my mom, and I'm like, I want to retire my wife. Funny enough, we learned that Cody's mom actually didn't want to be retired, so that it was really funny when we hit that point. Cody's like, "Oh, turns out my goal is not relevant," but it was relevant to him, and it
Yeah.
got us going. So we had this goal, and we're like, "Okay, how big of a portfolio if we partner together would get this outcome?" And we came up with if we do roughly 100 cash flowing units, that is a good that's a really good start. So that was the mission that we set. So my metrics for partnership is no retrading, no negotiating until you hit the goal, unless there's some serious critical failure. It makes it really simple. What we found is that I tend to be the harder worker, and which again, I'm not faulting Cody. Just Cody had never had a job in his life, and he was 20 when we partnered. I had had a working career. I've worked with people. I brought a different set of like just capacity
Hmm.
to the deal. We could have been frustrated about this and be like, hey, well, I want to retrade or I want more equity. But that wasn't the goal. The goal wasn't get more equity. It was we both pull as hard as we can to get to 100 units. And so we did. And we looked at the pieces and I was like, hey, look, I'm outworking you, but the partnership is successful and we both made a lot of money. So the problem is not the partnership. What can we fix? The answer was he wanted one of his buildings I'd bought into. He's like, I kind of wish I kept it myself. And I was running the property management company, and the person who'd never had a job before wasn't all that helpful in meetings. So I said, how about this? You trade me the PM company, and I'll trade you back your building. And that fixed the disparity between the two. So now I'm getting paid to manage our portfolio, which offset the disparity. And we went, okay, let's run this to another 100 units. And we got to another 100 units. And what we found there is he wanted to move across the country, and I wanted to do some of my own projects with different people. And so the partnership ended there, and it was a successful partnership two times over. But that's to me what a successful partnership is. Cody and I are not best friends, we're business friends, and we're good friends. He doesn't come over to my house, but we call each other like twice to four times a month. Like I'm pretty much calling like once a week. We do some business together, but the partnership did what it was always designed to do. The people who get burned as they go into these partnerships going like, I've known this person for 12 years, it's going to be amazing. And it's like, where are you going? How are you heading there? Whose roles are what? Partnerships have structures and they have an end point. Unless it's a marriage, stay married.
Hmm.
But partnerships should have a defined end. And if you want to extend it, you just roll again on a new goal. That was a saving thing for partnerships where I have 31 LLCs that are in joint ventures. I've only had serious conflicts in two of them. And I have a couple of them are businesses. Almost all of them are real estate, though. Business and real estate, I have multiple companies that have done seven figures in a relatively short period of time, which would be impossible by myself. especially my marketing team. That has become one of my best friends by accident.
Hmm.
He had a set of skills and I had a set of skills. I can pitch and he can market. And you marry sales and marketing, and I'm like the company makes sense. He's so technology forward. I'm so technology behind. I'm like, dude, we round each other out really well. Started a company, absolutely, absolutely took off. Those partnerships are really fun. That one also has a defined end and it has fixed priced buyouts based on revenue where either of us can eliminate each other for a certain cost at any time. And we have it in contract from the beginning. I'm like, if this thing blows up, I have a number where you can kill me, regardless of how good this does. You can get me out of the company, and it's a number that I'm very happy to be eliminated with. Those type of things, those make successful partnerships. They're fun, they're collaborative, and I'm not married to him. I can
Yeah.
get out of the partnership freely at any time.
Very cool. All right. That was one question. You had two more, Carl?
Yes. My second question was, I think you had a goal at some point to get 30 properties by 30. Is
Mhm.
that right? Like,
30
like
units
how did
by
that
30
come
was the
about?
original goal.
Yeah. How did that come about? Was it just a number? Like, oh, it sounds cool, like 30 by 30, you know?
Yeah, that was an arbitrary unit count doesn't matter, and I'm very explicit about that because it's easy, especially as my portfolio's got larger. It'd be easy to flex
Flex.
online. Oh, I got 400 and whatever units. Unit count does not matter. That was a good motivator for me. That was just a 30 by 30 because I had 4 units and Cody was 19 and had 24 units. I was like, there is a way to do this.
Mm.
And the next deal we found was the 38. So I jumped straight to 42 units, which Cody always points out is in fact not 30. So I technically failed.
Gosh. Hard grader, man. Jeez.
Right, right.
All right. Third
Um,
one?
my third one was, I think you have a process that where you build, stabilize, optimize, and then I
Mm.
think that hammer was the
Mhm.
fourth one. Like, can you give your thoughts and walk us through that? Like, how does that work?
So because Michael, I need to copy you. I like to have your rules on a plaque. That is the best idea of all time. Because Michael and I share the same method of meeting new people consistently over the course of every year. When I am doing my when I am doing the wait. Before I don't want to go on a tangent. Remind me the core question again, so I answer it exactly.
Your
I almost went on a
process.
tangent. I'm going to bring it back.
Your process.
Yeah, yeah. Process, build, stabilize, optimize that hammer.
Yes. I wanted to address the debt hammer specifically. I didn't want to get off track. So build is that ready, fire, aim. It's there's you have to buy real estate, which people have a habit of forgetting to do. You have to do the thing where you actually buy the buildings. That is a necessary stage. I see too many people try to optimize for I got off a call with someone yesterday. I'm thinking about my LLC structure here and moving into a living trust and doing this. I'm like, how many properties do you have in your portfolio today? None. Don't worry about any of your LLC structures or your tax benefits or your travel plans. You have nothing. You have no tax problem. So you build first. You stabilize, which is get at least 90% occupied and at least 90% to market rent. That is the minimum requirements to be a stabilized property in a given market. You should be better than that, but right there, that's a stable property. If you have a 10plex and 9 of them are rented, good job. Optimize is, are there things that we could be doing to be making more money on this property? Can we add a laundry room? Does the roof only have 3 years left on it? We should probably replace that now. Like optimize is let's get this thing where it should be. Also, don't do that before you stabilize the building. I've seen people over improve too fast. You can have an amazing building and it doesn't have to be today.
Mm.
Optimize it economically first so it does the best it can with what it has, then make it better. Now you've maximized the income this asset can have. I love, and I've only done this on a few properties, I love not refinancing. It everyone says, hey, at the end of your debt, you sell or refinance. Or you pay off your debt because that's something that you can do with debt. You can actually pay them. Uh, when I did this thing that Michael did, where we go and we meet 2 people, 100 people a year, the most successful owners, the least stressed owners, and the ones who sell or finance me a lot of stuff
Mm-hmm.
They paid off their portfolio. Gary Mann was the first significant owner meeting I did in Moses Lake. He had about 150 rentals. He built it over 45 years. He has zero debt. His cash flow was roughly $110,000 a month. And he still kept his job as a top broker in the town.
Wow.
And he still drives a $7,000 car.
Respect.
Yeah, I I'm not a car person. I do have a pretty cool truck. It costs more than $7,000. I don't know how he does it. I don't know what he does with all the money that he has, other than that man loves to fish the Gulf.
Hmm.
So he goes to Corpus Christi like all the time. Travels with his grandkids, but he has actual freedom. He does the job that he loves doing at the pace that he likes doing it. He does exactly what he wants to do when he wants, and he paid off all the debt. I love that model. I will relever one time if it means I can burr out my partners
Hmm.
because I don't want a bunch of partners. So I often do the burr method. Someone else will bring in the down payment, and I will pay them cash flow through the deal, and I'll pay them more than they paid in to buy them out later.
Right.
The real estate should do that. So that is a refinance. After that, my goal is to never relever. I pay off my debts because it's easier to do it this way. I don't always pay off the highest interest debt, which is mathematically best. I pay off the lowest debt that I have.
Hmm.
So if I
Okay.
have a $200,000 mortgage and I have a $500,000 refinance, I can pay off that mortgage and pay off an investor and be done with both. And now I'll never lever that property again. I own it myself. I owe nothing on it.
Have you
That's
ever
been
done
the
a
strategy that I've done.
1031? Have you done a 1031?
No, I don't sell things except for to pay off the Robinhood, which turns out you need the cash and you can't
Yeah.
1031 if you
You
need
can't
money.
1031. Yeah. Just, yeah, you need to.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
I've never had the opportunity. I don't keep personal debt.
Sure.
So I don't want to owe on my house, cars, or my personal portfolio.
Right.
Now that I own the Robinhood and still owe $3 million on it, it's the only thing left that I own with no partners that I have debt on.
Got it.
So now I'm like, well, I know where my next $3 million is going.
Hmm.
I'm going to pay off the Robinhood. It does 800 a year top line. It has too much debt is the problem
Right.
with it right now. If you pay off the Robinhood, which is my resort, that's financial freedom in itself. And then I do actually have my base camp for hiking and fishing in the
There you
mountains.
go.
It's never going to be a good investment because it's way too much money out of my thing.
Right.
It will at least be a cool thing that eventually makes me money because I
It
overpaid
will
until
be
it
a
did.
great story. That is for
It will
sure.
be a great story. I should sell it and buy something else, but I love our concert series there and I love what I've done to the community now. Now that I'm already invested, I'm like, it doesn't, it's fine now that I have it myself because now
Right.
it's my problem and it's my money sink and now I can actually afford the luxury item.
There you go. Okay.
But it's not, that wasn't a good investment. That was an idiotic investment and I love Dion and he should have never told me to buy that.
There you go. Well, we got time for one more question. Jim, you got your hand up, bud?
Well, since you're talking about that, so you are planning on keeping it. That actually surprised me.
It surprised me too. I talked to my wife about that last night. So I have three options. One, there are upgrades that should be done, and there's an optimal sale price. Option one, syndicate the Robinhood through recapitalization, bring the money it needs now to get it to where it needs to be. I don't really get a profit there, but I don't take a loss. I basically am able to, I can go all the way through that project and I'll just about break even on what would have been a heavy loss.
Hmm.
Not bad. So I have a way out of it. Option two, I take my money, I fix it up over a few years, I sell it, pull a few $1 million and go do cool things with a few $1 million, which would be awesome because I never seem to keep the few $1 million. It always goes back into another project. It would be really cool. I talked to my wife, and both of us were like, I love our staff. I love the project. If we own it ourselves, I think I'm good with another $3 million of work
Hmm.
to pay that off. I'm like, that is a fun project to do together. And so my wife and I are like, now that the pieces are where they are, do we really want to get rid of it? And the answer we
Hmm.
came up with, as a complete surprise to me, was unanimously no.
Hmm.
That was a surprise as of last night on our walk. I expected her to say sell it, and I thought I was going to say sell it. And when we talked about it, both of us were like, you know what, actually? We paid
Yeah.
enough where it cash flows now, and we have a lot of upside on it. What if we just kept it? And what if we didn't bring in anyone else? What if we just did it? So we'll see. We'll see. It's
Yeah.
still an option, but yeah, that was a surprise to me as well.
Yeah, because the passion projects are a big thing. It's in your mind. It's in the back of your mind. You think you want to fix that thing and make it work and do everything you wanted it to do. That's what got me started in this was glamping slash resort. And but I
It is
know,
definitely that. It is glamping slash resort. There are
yeah,
cool cabins. It's the concert series that gets me though. We have two 5-day concerts where we get like 300 people from the town all come in for this singer-songwriter event.
Nice.
I'm like,
well, and
that
it's
sort of
just
stuff is just cool. It's
yeah, and it's the
completely
same with
unique.
your other things, stabilize and optimize. If there's more ways to stabilize and optimize that resort, at least it's going to have a little bit of cash flow or break even,
Yeah.
so you're not losing.
Yeah. No, I still have November to pay the last 200,000 to the one guy who I bought out. So
Mhm.
I still have to make money. I have to lose a little bit more money, and then
Yeah,
I'm gonna get
gotcha.
rid of it. So
Thank you.
yeah, it's an interesting project. I think it's one that I want to see through just because I've already put so much into it. But it's just worth mentioning.
Yeah,
That's not financially the best decision. I almost make all my decisions on what makes the most money. That is one of the only emotional decisions that I'm making in my business is, hey, you know what? We can afford to make an emotional decision on this. This will be my legacy in Washington. I'm selling the rest of my Washington portfolio over the next 3 years because I'm have more momentum in Texas and it makes more sense for me and my PM companies down here. So I'm like, you know what? That'll be my legacy up there.
thank
There you
you.
go. All right, we'll take one last question. Given here, without debt, do you get hammered on taxes?
Uh, yes. And you up your legal risk, and there's all sorts of reasons to stay. There's so many reasons to stay leveraged. Um, the biggest risk is you up your lawsuit risk.
Yeah, you're a
There's
target. Yeah.
money in the LLC for people to go after.
Hmm.
Um, there are ways around that too. The short and sweet way is you create a holding company, put it in some state where they can't
Yeah.
look it up. You get a mortgage to that company, and that company now just gets paid from your paid off properties. So they now have debt. They just
Hmm.
happen to be owned by an LLC that's owned by your trust, that's owned by like this is what I mean by over planning. You can add security measures and insurance measures,
Yeah.
but on a tax adjusted basis, yeah, you're going to get hit with more. There's
Sure.
more taxability. There's a whole lot of
Well, you're still building too. Let's not forget that, right? You're still in the acquisition phase.
that's true. And I don't know anyone. No, that's not true. I know one. Of all the core owners that I've met, I don't know anyone who stopped acquiring into their 80s,
Yeah.
except for
No. Yeah.
Scott.
Yeah.
And he's still expanding farms, so I don't even know that he's still expanding. He's just not expanding multifamily. When you build the muscle, it's just kind of like breathing. It's like having a
Yeah.
hobby. Four
Agreed.
deals a
Yeah.
year is a hobby. That's not a full-time job at all.
Yeah. Agreed.
So it's just like, yeah, I will probably do that
Yeah.
forever. It's just at some point you pay off enough where you get to expand in cash and you don't need partners.
Right. Love that.
You don't need leverage. I don't want leverage. I hate debt. As someone who has $50 million of debt, I hate debt.
50 mil. Love it, Christian. Well, do us a favor, wrap this up. Where can people find you, follow you? You do a lot of amazing stuff. You got the plaque behind you from YouTube. You got some books behind you. Closing thoughts, and let's wrap this up.
Yeah. Oh, I just added Dion's book that came in yesterday too. There we go. Yeah, I put it down. It's on my nightstand downstairs. I need to make sure it's displayed here because we advertise for our friends. That's something that we
There
do.
you go.
I have your
Exactly.
book here too on the shelf right over there.
Nice.
Yeah. The oh gosh, I got all excited about the books. Yes. You find me. YouTube, I'm Christian Osgood. YouTube, I'm multifamily strategy. Instagram, I'm Christian Osgood. I have like way less videos than Michael, but I have like 2,500 videos
There you go. That's nice.
on YouTube, mostly focused on creative finance. So, if you were to watch my channel, it's basically what is the least creative you can get to close a deal that cash flows on long-term cash flowing fixed rate debt. And I have a lot of cool creative clauses and simple things you can do so you don't end up with the overly creative financed resort. So if you wanted to follow that, that's there. If you like the more comedic approach, I tend to have a lot of fun in the field on my Instagram. So you'll see a lot of like tactical. I manage all of my properties,
Nice.
which is wild. You guys can learn from me, and mostly it's me making fun of the stupid decisions we make at properties. And so if you guys want to have a little bit of fun, Instagram's fun, YouTube's educational, and I'll see you guys on either of those.
Christian, man, you're amazing. Thanks for doing this Sunday morning. We appreciate you. Have fun, everybody. Later.